So we're 2 down and 1 to go with the Crash Bandicoot Re-Review trilogy. I totally did not just make that up right now. I will admit, it's been fun going back to some older Crash games. Even though I have expressed my opinions on Nitro Kart and Twinsanity, they hold a place in my nostalgic heart, for better or for worse. If by any chance you haven't seen these videos yet, both links will be in the description. There was a message I was trying to bring across to the table, and that message is, it's okay to change your opinion on a topic. And to me, I felt like making videos on them, expressing my updated feelings in those games to give them the proper attention they deserve. So now, let's wrap everything up as we tackle Crash Tag Team Racing. Oh. To tell you the truth, I probably should have reviewed a different Crash game. After rewatching my older review on Tag Team Racing, I can definitely confirm that I have a few opinions changed in the game itself, but it's not the good kind of opinion changes. My sincere apologies to any die-hard fans of Crash Tag Team Racing, but I did not enjoy my playthrough. So let's not waste enough time and let's get this over with. And once again, since this is a re-review, I won't describe about the beginning acts because I've already said it before in my old review, but I will talk about what I think about the story, and again, like my comments with Nitro Kart, the story is simple and straightforward because I believe all the focus is heading towards the gameplay. They just needed something to keep the ball rolling, and this is what they presented. Not the biggest fan of the story, but it's something. So after a tutorial section on how to play, you get greeted to Von Clutch's Motor World in the midway where you can fully explore. In Crash Twinsanity, you can explore different areas, but everything leads to one destination, so it's still linear. In Tag Team Racing, you can check out different places around the theme parks to how you see fit. So this is, technically, the very first Crash Bandicoot game to feature an open world. It's just a shame that in my opinion, the theme parks are pretty bland to check out. You can visit Mystery Islands based on the pirates, Happily Ever Faster, a fairy tale world, Tyrannosaurus Rex filled with prehistoric stuff, Toontown based on the Egyptian times, and Astroland, a sci-fi world. They're honestly just as generic as they come when viewing them. Also, what's weird is for a theme park, there is a lot of dangerous hazards for casual tourists. I'm surprised the place is still up and running. Even in Midway, it just looks like the most boring theme park I've ever seen. Wait, you can hit children in this game? So bring the whole family around to Von Clutch's Motor World, where everything is legal. So for a game that's called Crash Tag Team Racing, you can also platform in this game. Sounds pretty neat, but unfortunately the platforming side of things suck. For starters, the controls are just awkward to control. I mentioned the controls in Twinsanity can be floaty, but here, it's even more floaty than before. I'm not sure how to put my finger on it. What makes it worse is the camera. Say if I want to jump to the next platform, and if it's right near a wall, the camera will not physically show me where to jump, making some of my jumps feel like guesswork, which shouldn't be the case at all. It does not want to cooperate with me when I need it the most. And the worst part where you try to combine them together is the double jump. Oh boy, I fucking hate the double jump. Every now and then, it does this weird animation that looks like it's in fast forward motion. I press the button to double jump accordingly, but out of nowhere, it'll think I pressed way too quickly and Crash falls below. This cost me a fair bit of time and my patience too, as I have to scale back up to where I was. But I like to believe that the worst and somewhat laziest thing I've seen while platforming in Tag Team Racing is seeing ninja penguins. Ninja penguins everywhere. I have this feeling that there were supposed to be more enemies to beat down, but I don't even know. So what can you do in the hub worlds? Well, you can collect coins, power crystals, buy costumes, find gags, complete in minigames, and also collect power gems. gems. They are the main collectibles, and to retrieve them, you need to grab enough power crystals to unlock jump pads to obtain a power gem in order to move on to the next theme park. And the best way to obtain crystals is to partake in some racing. And the racing is just as bad as the platforming. I mean, how do I even start with talking about the racing here? I suppose I should begin with the controls, and what did I say before in my Nitro Kart review? The controls in a racing game is the top priority in any racing game. It is literally a make or break, and if it fails, then there's a good % chance that the entire game will suffer. And I still stand by that comment. The controls are not great. Turning feels like a chore, especially when you're in a narrow track, and like how I described the platforming, driving just feels floaty. As in, I don't feel like I'm in full control of my vehicle as I'm just floating my way down towards the finish line. The racetracks to me feel pretty uninspiring. Perhaps there's a couple of set pieces I thought were pretty cool, but it's all just boring to race through, especially with every track layout has the same strategy, and we'll get to that in just a minute. The shortcuts don't even feel like shortcuts. Even taking a shortcut and going pretty fast while I'm at it, it still puts me in the same position with zero progress heading into first place. It's almost pointless to take shortcuts anyway. Power sliding feels off as well. The speed just slows down every time I use it, and it killed the momentum and pacing of a race. But hey, at least this game has power-ups like in CTR and CNK. They had cool power-ups like TNT crates, potions, and a mask that lets you be invincible for a limited amount of time. But then it becomes disappointing when you see the power-ups in tag team racing. I mean, I don't know who was smoking what, but who thought it was a good idea to have a chicken as a power-up? Let alone a dynamite strapped to a monkey? What's up with the abuse here? First the children, then the penguins, then the chickens, now the monkeys? This game really is trying to offend everybody. But I guess in the world of On Clutch's Motor World, everything is legal. But the racing here does have an important feature to use, and that is a clashing. By using the clash ability, you can turn into a ghost and clash with other racers, transforming two vehicles into one. One person drives around the track while the other shoots, almost feeling like a torrent section. It does sound like a pretty cool idea, and when seeing it for the first time, it looks pretty nice, but it does get old very quickly. This game pretty much encourages you to transform with someone, otherwise if you don't, you'll be out in the open to get wrecked and eventually fall behind. Each person you clash with has a unique weapon to use, but most of them can be pretty trash since it delivers low damage. And having said that, remember in Jak 3 how I talked about strategic dominance, and if this method is overpowering, then you'll keep using that same technique throughout the entire game? Well, there is a bit of strategic dominance in this game, and it features Engine. By clashing with Engine, you can use these rockets, and with every 2 to 3 hits, you blow up a car. Everything becomes way too easy using this method. Even in the hardest difficulty, you'll have no troubles. Clash with Engine, mow through every car you see, and just when the race is just about done, you unlink yourself with the car you're in, and bam! First place. Check out them KOs, boy! By using this technique over and over all the time, it does make the racetracks itself suffer the most. Part of the reason why I love the racetracks in Crash Team Racing, and to an extent Crash Nitro Kart, is because there's always a strategy behind them. Different layouts and different shortcuts to mix match to get the best and fastest time possible. But in tag team racing, all that is out the window, as the only technique you really need with every racetrack you come across is to clash with Engine, shoot cars, and win. And if you unlock Engine as a playable character, it makes clashing more easier since you already have the rockets in your arsenal. So, outside of racing and platforming, you can do a bit of side quests for your opponents here and there. Some will ask Crash to find an object, while others will ask for coins and perhaps a power crystal. And you can even find a lost teddy bear and give it back to Whoa-ho-ho.
Is that Crunch Bandicoot? Damn, he's looking jacked as hell. I'm about to bust.
It can seem repetitive by doing the same objectives over and over, and I personally don't even bother with most of these side quests anyway. But if you do end up completing the side quest for someone, you'll unlock that person as a playable character to use in the races. I suppose what is a cool feature in those side quests is if you don't know where to go, you can always talk to them some more and exhaust their dialogue. And the funny thing is, the more you do it, the angrier they get.
Now I am just so mad, Crash!
Another way to get crystals is to partake in stun arenas, where you perform tricks to earn points, and battle arenas where your team tries to demolish other drivers to earn the most points. I'll admit, if you're playing these game modes in multiplayer, it can be pretty fun. But guess who has no friends to play with?
This guy!
You can also play some mini games, and while the majority I believe has literally no interest at all, but I do like me some bowling. It's surprisingly good. And of course, throughout the hub worlds and theme parks, you can find a lot of gags along the way, whenever it's related to a death scene or a small funny skit. Most of them are pretty childish, and I do understand this game is aimed more towards a younger audience. I repeat, it's aimed towards a younger crowd while you can do this, but anyway, as an adult now, I still get a couple of chuckles here and there, but I do think most of the comedy here is pretty lame. Which is a shame because Twinsanity had some great comedy and we pretty much went from this...
How could things get any worse?
to this. Oh yeah, and that's another thing. You can fart and burp during the loading screens. So that's something for ya. I was gonna wrap everything up until I noticed this one particular thing that I never noticed until replaying this game just now. In Mystery Island, you do a favor for Cortex to get him a ninja costume, and in return, he gives you a power crystal. Now bear with me here. Cortex, the main villain of the entire Crash Bandicoot series, is giving away a power crystal, an item he's been obsessed with for years, to Crash Bandicoot, the last person Cortex wants the crystal to go to. Cortex gives a power crystal to Crash Bandicoot. I don't know about you, but that is seriously out of character here. And that was Crash Tag Team Racing. If my past experience has taught me anything, is that even if there's a game that has some of the worst aspects possible in a video game, it can often be one of the funniest and somewhat the best moments of a video game. But the only difference is, Crash Tag Team Racing was just terrible overall and I had zero fun whatsoever. The platforming is generic as they come, the racing is a joke, the controls suck, and while there were a couple of good ideas on the table, but the execution was very poor on the developer's end. It's funny though, I played this game a lot as a kid and I do have fond memories of playing it in my childhood days, but when it comes to a format of making these types of videos, the hardest part is removing all nostalgia and childhood memories out the window to see the game for where it truly lies. And to me, this is the worst Crash Bandicoot game I've ever played in terms of consoles. So with that said, I'll be giving Crash Tag Team Racing the updated score of 4 out of 10. For a game that features platforming and racing, if the only fun thing in this game to do is to play some bowling, then there is something completely wrong here. If anything, they probably should have called this game Crash Tag Team Bowling, but Anyway, that's going to wrap up this review. I thank you all so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave a like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. You can follow me on Instagram, the link will be down in the description box below, and as always, take care, thank you for watching, and just remember that when it comes to Von Clutch's Motor World, everything is legal.